waiting, huh?
Sonic Riders had a steep learning curve, but was a fast and fun game when you got the hang of it. I'm guessing someone in Sega knew that too, because the series kept going even with the game's mixed reviews. You know, I wonder if I'm ever gonna buy the sequel again. I mean, I never got far in it and my old copies lost to time, so... That better not be a Twitter liberal. It's open!
Wish granted.
Ow! Who was that guy? And why did he come here just to toss, oh hey, free game? 2 years after the first game, Zero Gravity was released for the Wii and the PS2. I wonder which one was their first choice. I'm willing to bet their goal was to simplify the game's aspects while adding in the oh-so-lovely idea of zero gravity. And you know what? I welcome that. The starting hurdles of the first game are so steep that only one of my friends knows how to play. And that wasn't the friend you guys saw. Careful. I warned you. By throwing in a defining feature and making the game easier to adapt to, we could not only have a racer that gives Mario Kart a run for its money, but a sequel that's better than the first game. Zero Gravity is not better than Sonic Riders. I really need to silence this more often. Hello?
How dare you?
I'm sorry, who is this?
First, you knocked me out when I just wanted the code for Celebi, and now you slander Zero Gravity? I will find you, wherever you are. I will...
580-68773.
Okay, all is forgiven. By the way, have you seen a bearded guy with glasses? He stole my copy of the game.
Nope, goodbye. That's not gonna be the last time I'm gonna be interrupted, is it?
I gave you a free game, just for you to complain?
Why are you still here?
Turn the game on and start playing it. You'll see how much better it is.
This is why you let people finish before you react. I'm not saying Zero Gravity is a bad game. It's still good and there's fun to be had, but the speedy high-risk, high-reward gameplay is gone. And veterans such as myself have a whole slew of other things to get used to. Let's see what those other things are, shall we? But before I do, let me address a Dawn fan in the room. I recorded the Zero Gravity footage off my Wii. 1 second. Hello?
Hello? Hi, have you seen my Wii? It's been missing since October.
No, I haven't. Since I was playing the game on the Wii, I was able to use a GameCube controller. Don't play this game on the Wii U. Upscaled graphics are nice, but you can't plug in a GameCube controller on the thing, there's no classic controller support, and the GameCube adapter doesn't work on Wii games. You'll be stuck with the Wiimote. Horizontal is somewhat salvageable, but turning never feels precise whether tilting or on the D-pad. Vertical? I think our Lord and Savior said it best.
Like seriously, imagine you're playing a Mario game and the only way to move is to do this. Yeah, this is how you jump, this is how you go left and right. That would be stupid!
In closing, if you're gonna play this game, play it on an original Wii for GameCube support or the PS2. And if all else fails, commit everyone's favorite sin. After the greatness that was the first game's intro, this game just copy-pasting the hero story opening is pretty disappointing. One night, a cog falls from space in front of the robots of Meteor Tech, causing them to go apeshit and look for the other cogs. Team Sonic heads toward Megalo Station the next day with Sonic holding a cog. Man, I wonder where that's going.
What should we do, Sonic?
Tails didn't sound scared at all. Why did it take until Unleashed for the 4Kids voice director to get their head on straight? After learning what the cogs can really do, Team Sonic starts racing to get to the bottom of this. On their gear. That's the weird problem with this entire story. There's no real reason why we need to be on our gear. In Riders, Eggman's whole Grand Prix was going on, so there was at least a purpose there. Here, they just exist. Well, existing or not, the first course is Megalo Station. It's not much more than this game's Metal City. Simple shape, a couple layers here and there. Of course, when I was testing this game prior to recording, this simple course gave me a rude awakening. To start, your acceleration's completely out of whack. Rather than explaining, I'll just show you how. Next is jumping. The first game layered mechanics onto each other, creating a risk-reward system in the same way a skateboarding game would. Here you press the button once. The rest is controlled by Sonic's best friend, automation. At least it's easier to jump on rails. Drifting's gone, the air meter's gone, and boosting was turned into an item you only get when you suck. All 3 parts in the Sonic Riders Bible are gone, so how does the game work now? Well, level ups still exist. The rings you collect on the track are used to upgrade your gear. They normally consist of a speed increase, your character type ability, and a gravity power increase. You have to choose to upgrade your gear, and you'll use up the rings needed, so it's up to you. Do you stockpile your rings for higher upgrades, or get each upgrade immediately? Get each upgrade immediately, you clown. Don't think twice on standard boards. Gravity exists to fill the other voids, whether it be by stopping it to make sharp turns, or the gravity dive, a move where you dash through the air in a mostly straight line. If there's stuff in the way, ramming into it speeds you up. These gravity tricks are cool in theory, but they're not great in execution. For one thing, having to pause the action when you want to do something damages the already weakened flow. The dive can't turn for meaning it only works on straight roads, and the gravity turn is much slower than drifting. Now, the courses are built with these maneuvers in mind, but these make it so that races aren't as snappy and free-flowing as the first game. It's also because of these changes that Megalo Station feels much more boring than Metal City. Quite easy to make comparisons when the first few courses mirror the first game.
I was so scared.
I'm not even gonna ask where that cog came from. Botanical Kingdom is next, and it's filled with twists and turns that make it a pretty lively course, especially compared to what came before. It's also pretty long, but I don't really mind that. Ah, for the love of God, my eyes! One Babylon Rogue reunion later, we hunt for Eggman in Meteor Tech premises. It's an okay course. The gravity dive section is probably the best in the game because there's always something to bounce off. Once we find Eggman, he begins some exposition on the cogs, which we now know are called Arcs of the Cosmos, and how they're connected to the robots.
Huh? Shut up and listen.
Okay, that was funny, but at the same time, Knuckles was just reacting. Don't be rude. Amy and Storm got lost somewhere along the way, so we go through Aquatic Capital to find them. It's a fun track, and I really like the theme. This is where the game starts to diverge from the first in terms of level concepts.
It's a pretty famous ruin among us treasure hunters. A legend about shooting stars tells of some star shards sealed there that can grant your wishes.
Shooting stars.
I could go for the dead meme here, but... Wait, where's that music coming from? No, I'm not going with it. No, stop. I don't want to reference. Chun-Nan here has a pretty dynamic course, starting off with 2 big drops and having several twists and turns inside an ancient temple. It also gives you a buy one get one free deal on retina damage. Help me. Team Sonic has a bit of a history lesson, and the group learns that the last cog fell to where Eggman built his control tower. We relive the days of the first Riders finale, only now it's in Meteor Tech's brain, Crimson Crater. I see mostly green and gray here, no crimson. Crimson Crater's got quite the track, and I'm not just talking level design. The soundtrack is pretty great, which is weird because it doesn't quite start that way. It's a good thing no one's around to tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Did I ask you? I don't really care for Through Traffic, Spiral Madness, or Gadget Round, but Aquatic Time, Sealed Ground, and Dive into Gravity pick up the slack. Oddly enough, Zero Gravity has the best menu theme I've ever heard in a racing game, and I've played Mario Kart Double Dash. One odd thing about the tracks is that each time you use gravity power, the song will shift to a different point. An interesting choice, even though I prefer to just hear the whole thing at once. Crimson Crater is filled with jumps, gravity turns, and it's surprisingly long. In fact, all the tracks are surprisingly long. To give you an idea, the first course of this game rivals the last course of the last game. Or on a broader spectrum, Megalo Station outpaces every track in Mario Kart 8. Thankfully, none of these courses reach Rainbow Road levels and aren't nearly as dull. Well, besides Megalo Station. I had to play Rainbow Road twice so that Luigi wouldn't steal my gold trophy. Fuck you, Luigi. One abrupt ending later, we can move on to the Babylon story, going over the unlockable tracks like before. Storm wants something bad, and I don't want to know what it is. These tracks are admittedly something Zero Gravity has over the first game. They're way more unique and varied compared to the unlockable tracks of Riders 1. The only similarity Gigan Device has with Rocks is the music. Nightside Rush feels like an F-Zero track with its inverted shenanigans, and even with its simple shape, it's not as boring as Megalo Station. Snowy Kingdom. This segment was originally gonna go like, Ice Physics! Why are there ice physics in a game with hoverboards? But character shortcuts and gravity turning onto separate paths make this course bearable. For Meteor Tech Sparkworks, you play as Amy. I don't get it either. At least with the Babylon Guardian, you can argue that protagonist syndrome justifies playing as Sonic. Maybe they didn't want you to play as Storm 3 times in a row? Sparkworks really isn't anything special. Kinda dull looking too. No staring. That cog was flying towards the ground. Is Amy Silver in disguise? They keep changing positions on a whim.
Now my only weakness, a bracelet. Goodbye, cruel world.
Every face Storm makes is beautiful. Storm goes through Tempest Waterway on his own. The water can push you around and there are several ramps. If you like jumping, you'll like this course. Otherwise, you'll find it rough and abrupt. Following it is the greatest cutscene in the game. Eggman sneaks onto the airship, no one sees him, and then this happens.
Splat! What the heck does that mean?
Who can say? What are your thoughts?
How should I know? Anyway, we can leave the thinking for later. For now, we need to collect these arcs of the... Huh? Huh!
Look at that! The Eggmobile from Sonic Adventures holding two arms up like crab claws! Team Babylon trails him down, and we once again reach Security Corridor. Wasn't Crimson Crater at night? Oh well. That probably doesn't mean anything. Why? It burns! Security Corridor is just this game's Sky Road, a shorter and brighter repeat of its hero original. At least it's not as guilty of recycling design. Sonic and Jet stop Eggman from reuniting the arcs together, and as Sonic is about to leave and disappoint Jet...
Bracelets are my friends now. Be gone, thought.
I haven't talked about the story much, so I might as well now. The 5 arcs of the Cosmos are power units for Babylon Garden, which turned out to actually be a disguised spaceship, only to eventually fall and appear on Earth as shooting stars. Eggman placed the Master Unit in Meteor Tech's mother computer, so when the arc from the intro hit a robot, it locked him out and made the other robots run amok to collect the other arcs, only slightly deviating from his plans of pawning them off around the world and then starting their rampage. These arcs, as Tails realizes late into the game, create a black hole to enact their gravity warping abilities, but the Babylonians couldn't control it and damaged their ship, hence why one of them was sealed in Gigan rocks. Did you catch all that? I like the effort given at this story. It has more depth than anything from the 2010s, but it takes a second look to really absorb everything. Of course, the robots don't care, so their leader finished their job and took the arcs to Babylon Garden, thus causing something of actual consequence to happen for the first time in the series. The Garden is sucking in the entire world, and so Team Sonic and the Rogues go in to disconnect the core unit. Only one problem. Cybernetic Black Hole Core. Guess it's time for a boss fight. I'm really not looking forward to this. The Babylon Guardians sucked in the first game, and this boss has a similar premise. Of course, Abyss here would turn out to be great! I'm not kidding! This boss is the Babylon Guardian done right! Better design? Check. Stakes? Check. Attacks that actually matter and aren't easy to dodge? Check. Music? The core is a fantastic piece of music that I highly recommend you listen to. You have 5 minutes to hit the core, and can only do so when Abyss forces you into a gravity dive after a jump. Once you get 6 hits in, he'll die for good. The day is saved, and we can listen to the new and improved Catch Me If You Can. damn it, wrong version. Why do these two games share a name with each other? Eggman, Silver, Blaze, and SCR GP are unlocked. However, SCR HD, the leader of the robots and the one that became Abyss, is luck-based. Yeah, I'm serious. It'll just randomly show up in a race, and if you happen to beat it, you unlock it as a playable character. On this file, I actually happened to get it on my first race. The spaceship becomes a track by the name of Astro Babylon, and the black hole apparently creates 80s and 90s Boulevard. Astro Babylon is weird. The course is just a rectangle with walls that collapse more with each lap, and Babylon symbols that summon something good if you pass through them. Sega puked harder here than they did in the first game. The music is no Sega Carnival, but these are pretty fun tracks with some killer visuals. In fact, for a third-party game on the Wii, the game actually looks pretty good. All you have to do is compare Green Cave to Botanical Kingdom to see the jump in quality, and it's funny because they're technically on the same console too. Jet Grind Radio? Why does seeing that make me uncomfortable? Mission mode is back, now being about Eggman studying the main cast. Where did that render come from? 2006? There are 7 missions per level as opposed to 5 in the first game, but there's no extra set. The Geekin' Rocks and Mobius Strip Trick missions can kiss my ass. You only have 4 ramps to jump off, and in order to get a perfect, you need 2 double S and 2 X ranks. At least! The unlockables are a little different though. Amigo replaces Ooh La La, my shameless plug fuel's still here, Supersonic is locked behind perfect ranks of the missions once again, and II was replaced with... Oh god. Billy's animations being callbacks to the game is a nice touch, but why doesn't he speak? At least with Knights, the first game to have her speak came out only a month before. Knights is a girl, shut up. Now last time Supersonic was playable, he was the best character in the game by only a short margin because of his ring handicap. Here, not so much. Supersonic isn't that great actually. You run on the ground at the start, and while this lets Sonic use springs or certain paths, it's mostly impractical. Now, one ring will get Supersonic on the board, and he loses rings pretty slowly. Unless you try to use gravity, in which case you just hung yourself and you're going to hell. Supersonic's upgrades consist of 2 ring cap increases and a permanent Thunder Shield. Get the Thunder Shield first. Rings will be attracted to you, and once Supersonic gets 60, he'll go into a boost state that moves decently fast but loses rings faster. Now, when you have both the Thunder Shield and the boost going, Supersonic can actually be pretty good, but it's still not a good prize for perfect ranks on the missions. Since I care about a complete save, however, I don't care. Wrap your head around that. Speaking of which, more boards to shop for. And inflation's a bitch because these things are expensive! The Rainbow costs 10,000 rings! Thankfully, it's much easier to ring grind. The Gambler is back, its stats are slightly better, its upgrades make the ring total cap at 250, and since the AI in the Grand Prix sucks, it's super easy to win races, even without character shortcuts. You can get 3,500 rings from 1 Grand Prix. You'd only have to do 3 for the Rainbow at that point. Once again, there's no real best board, and this is all because of gear changes. Even if a board has great stats, I can't call it the best since it usually doesn't get the gear change needed for character shortcuts. On a stage where they don't help much, like Meteor Tech Sparkworks or Tempest Waterway, I'd actually consider the Skill Booster the best since it has good stats and only upgrades them. The Rainbow here shifts between all 3 character shortcuts and has unlimited gear changes unlike the Omnipotence, but it takes a lot of rings for them. The bad boards in this game aren't as egregious as last time. Except for the Madge! The thing has no gravity power except for the first 25 seconds after the 3rd gear change. Don't use this thing! The Untouchable is basically this game's speed balancer. Fast going straight, stiff turning. The Money Crisis gets faster the more rings it has, and you need at least 50 for its speed to be decent. Finally, the Big Bang is essentially this game's cannonball. The worst stats in the game, but collecting 100 GP puts you into boost mode. Finally, we have the survival modes again, consisting of the multiplayer-only relay race, the same battle mode from the first game, and soccer. I don't get it, what am I doing?
Well,
what?
convinced yet?
Sonic Riders Zero Gravity is a weird game, much like the other Wii sequel to An Acquired Taste that I covered, and mentioned twice already. I wouldn't say it's better than the first game. However, Zero Gravity is still a great time. The track variety is better, the production values are better, the game is still expressive, and while the gravity mechanics aren't a replacement for drifting and boosting, the track design takes good advantage of them. Not to mention the game is much easier to adapt to. The guy who sneezed on me did way better here than in Riders 1.
Good enough. You're welcome.
The Sonic Riders series was quite an experiment, one that I think paid off in the short term. Sadly, I don't think we're gonna get a new game anytime soon, if at all. With Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing being more successful on all fronts, the last few racing games we got were all in cars. Don't get me wrong, these games are great and I highly recommend them, but they just don't have the personality that the Riders games do. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Well, now that the Riders series is done, I wonder what I'll do next. Well, Pokemon Not Red and Not Blue have been out for some time, so I should probably get around to starting that white randomizer. I thought that guy was satisfied.
Salutations, my good friend. I come in you a time of great need. You wanna play Sonic Free Riders?!
Mighty number 9.
Okay, you suck, you damn Lumine X Sonic shipper. Go play Xenoblade Chronicles. Goodbye! Goodbye!
That guy raised a lot of questions that I'm not gonna ask. At least he reminded me of why I'm not doing a Free Riders video. Bye!